Hi everybody, it's Crystal. So today I'm going to show you how to make this 4-leaf clover granny square. Now that 4-leaf clover is not sewn on, it's actually part of the granny square. And it looks a little intimidating probably. It does to me, but actually it's not. It's actually pretty easy. There's just a few steps we got to do to get to the finished product, but yeah, it's probably about, I can maybe a little measure here and see how big of a granny it is. 5.5 inch granny. So of course you can always make it bigger by making your white rounds bigger. So also I want to take a minute to ask you not to forget to subscribe to my channel. That way you never miss an update. If you subscribe, and if you look by the subscribe button, there's a little bell there. If you click that, it will automatically notify you via email, I believe, every time I put on a new tutorial, so you'll never miss one. Also, if you make this and you like it, if you could go ahead and maybe give this video a like and maybe a share on Facebook or Pinterest, I'd really appreciate it. So let's go ahead and get started on it. Set this to the side here. Okay, what I use is Caron Simply Soft Party Yarn. It's the kind with the little streamers in it, and it's just about 100% 4-ply acrylic. It's only got that 1% because it's got the streamers in it. So any 4-ply yarn will work. It does not have to be this brand. But the color I use is called Spring Sparkle, and it doesn't really take very much yarn at all. And then I'm using, this one is the same, it's called Snow Sparkle. And then I'm going to be using a eye, which is a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. You know what? This has happened to me like 3 times with this skinny yarn. Every time I pull something, pull it out, big knots come out. That's aggravating. But I'll press on. Okay, first you want to start with a slip knot on your hook. We're going to start with the basic clover first. What we'll do is the basic clover, then we'll work the square around it, and then we'll go around the clover again to make it pop out like you see. So we're going to start with a chain of 4. And then you want to go ahead and slip stitch into your first stitch to form a ring. Like that. Now we're going to chain 1. And we're going to go right back into that ring, and we're going to slip stitch into the ring. And now we're going to do a chain of 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to slip stitch into the ring again. Now that is creating the spaces that I can make the petals to my clover, or the leaves. So now I'm going to chain 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And again, I'm going to slip stitch into the ring. And I need to do that 4 times. So that was my second time. Chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can keep sliding them over if you need to. Slip stitch into the ring. And again, chain 5. 1. That tail keeps getting in my way. 2, 3, 4, 5. Slip stitch into the ring again. Now what I'm going to do is make my stem. So you can see what you have is 4 chain 5 spaces. Now don't worry about the size of that center of that ring, because we can sew it up later. You can pull your tail and make it a little bit smaller. So now we're going to do the stem, and we're going to do a chain of 8. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we're going to work a half double crochet in the 3rd stitch from the hook. Remember, we don't count this one that's on our hook. So 1, 2, 3. And what I'm going to do is, if you flip to give your stem a nice clean edge, if you flip it over, you see these little bumps back here, those little 1 loops. I'm going to work in those. So I'm going to yarn over, and in the 3rd stitch from the hook, I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to go through that one loop there on the back and half double crochet. It's just one loop, and that'll give your stem a nice clean edge. You don't have to do it this way. You can just go through it regular. And then I'm going to half double crochet again. In the next stitch, I'm just going to go through that one loop right there on the back of the chain. And now I'm going to single crochet again in that one loop, a single crochet into the next stitch, that one loop back there. Single crochet in the next stitch in that one loop. Single crochet again into that one loop of the next stitch. I don't know why my camera keeps going blurry like that. I apologize. I have to fix the settings on it, I guess. Like that. And then you'll have one stitch left to go through the back loop of it. I think here, let me look. Yeah, one more. Single crochet into the back loop of that last stitch, and there is your stem. And now what you want to do is go ahead and slip stitch again right back into the main ring. So there you got your stem, and by doing it that way, it gave you a nice clean edge on this side. So there's your stem made. So now we're going to work the leaves or the petals of our clover. So what we're going to do is slip stitch over into our first chain 5 space. Now every one of these chain 5 spaces are going to be made the exact same. So we're going to slip stitch right over to it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to work 2 half doubles through that space. So there's 1 and 2. And then we're going to work 2 doubles through that space. So there's 1 and 2. And now we're going to work a half double through the space. And now we're going to work 2 doubles through the space. Two half doubles through the space, and then we're going to end with the slip stitch in the same space. So that is not counting those slip stitches. That's 9 stitches on that petal. Now we're going to work it again. So we're going to jump over to the next petal, and we're going to slip stitch right into the chain space. And we're going to chain 1. Now we're going to work 2 half doubles. So there's 1 and 2. Oh, that yarn. And then we're going to work 2 doubles. So there's 1 and 2. And we're going to work 1 half double. Then we're going to work 2 doubles. And then we're going to work 2 half doubles. And then we're going to slip stitch into that same space. And that'll complete our second petal, or a second leaf, whatever you want to call it. Now we're going to do it again. We're going to jump over to the next chain space and slip stitch. Chain 1. And we're going to work again 2 half doubles. So there's 1, 2, 2 doubles, 1, 2, 1 half double, and then 2 doubles, 2 half doubles, and then we're going to slip stitch right back into the same space. And again, we got one more petal to do, so we'll just go ahead and do it on camera. We're going to slip stitch right over here to the next chain space, chain 1, 2 half doubles, there's 1, 2 doubles, 1, 2, 1 half double, 2 doubles, 2 half doubles, and then a slip stitch into the same space. Now we're going to clip that yarn and hide that tail real quick before we start going around it and making it into a granny square. So that's what it's starting to look like so far. Now it's going to be completely different here in a minute. It probably won't even really look like a 4-way clover until we're finished after this point. So go ahead and hide your tails so we don't have them hanging out in the way. And what you can do is kind of go around and sew up that center circle a little bit more. I kind of just go around it a little bit and pull it tight and it'll close it up. It doesn't have to be closed up all the way. Mine's not closed up all the way on my other one. Just a little bit more there. Okay, that one, and I don't think I hid that one yet. So I'll go ahead and just weave this one in a couple times, just so it doesn't come undone. Okay, I'm not going to do it that good because this is just for tutorial purposes. I'm not really going to do anything with these granny squares. Okay, so there's my clover so far. Now we're going to bring in the white and we're going to start working around it. We want to start in any one of these clover spaces, and we want to start in that half double crochet that's in the middle. Okay, remember we did the 2 half doubles, the 2 doubles, and then a half double. So make sure you get that half double that's in the middle. If you pull it back, it looks kind of funny. Half doubles kind of do. You got to pull it up to get into the stitch. And that's where we're going to start. But what we're going to do, instead of going into the whole stitch, we're only going to work in the back loop. So you see how there's 2 loops to each stitch. There's a front loop, and then the one farthest is the back loop. We're just going to work in the back loop. So find that half double crochet and go into the back loop only, and you start your white yarn there, or whatever color that you're going to use, and chain 1. And it's going to pull the loop up a bit. That's fine, don't worry about it. Go right back into it and single crochet like that. Now I'm going to single crochet in the back loop of the next 4 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Just like that. And I'm not going to go in these 2 slip stitches here. I'm going to jump to the back loop of the first half double crochet over here and single crochet into the back loop of that one. So there should be 4 in a row before you get to your middle half double crochet. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4, and now if you look, I am at the middle half double crochet, so I'm going to go ahead and do a single crochet into that. Remember, we're only working back loops. Now you want to do a single crochet in the back loop with the next 4 stitches again. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and we're not working the slip stitches or anything. Now we're just going to pull our stem up, skip that slip stitch there. We're working underneath the stem, and then we're going to put a single crochet in the first half double over here in the back loop only, and there should be 4 stitches again before you get to that middle half double. So there's 1, back loops only, 2, 3, and 4, and you can see I am in that middle half double. So I'm going to go ahead and put a single crochet in the back loop of that one like that. And now I'm going to put 1 single crochet in the back loop of the next 4 stitches of this petal. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to jump over to this petal, and in the back loop of that first half double crochet, we're skipping these little slip stitches, back loop, single crochet. So there should be 4 before we get to that center half double. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and I'm at my center half double, back loop, single crochet into that, and then back loop, single crochet in the back loop of the next 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip these slip stitches down here, and you'll have 4 stitches left over here to back loop, single crochet in the back loop only, starting with the first half double crochet of this petal. I call them petals, I call them leaves, whatever. That, and now we're going to end with the slip stitch into our very first single crochet, not the chain one we did, but the very first single crochet, just like that. Now that's what it's starting to look like. See, it's starting to look really funny. It's not really looking like a clover anymore, but that's okay. Now we started in the center of, remember that half double crochet that we put in the center. On each 4 of those petals is going to be the corner. So since we started there, we're going to go ahead and put a corner right here. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go right back into that same stitch and put 2 double crochets into that stitch. There's 1, and there's 2, and then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to go back into it and put 2 more double crochets. So that is how we do the corners of this granny square. 2 doubles, a chain 2, and 2 doubles. So we got our first corner made. Now we're going to we're not working in back loops anymore. We're working in the top of the whole stitch. So now what we're going to do is put 1 double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do a drop stitch, and we're going to go in between this stitch that we just put the double crochet in and this next one, and we're going to drop down and connect right down here into this slip stitch here. So I'll show you what we're going to do. We're going to yarn over. It's a double crochet drop. Go all the way down. It doesn't have to be exact, but kind of right here where one of these single crochet or one of these slip stitches were, kind of, it's going to be hard to get your hook in it, but put your hook in it and grab your yarn, pull back through and draw up a long loop even with the rest of your double crochets, and then yarn over and finish out your double crochet like that. So that's kind of like a extreme drop double crochet. Now we're going to scoot it over because we got to get into this very next double crochet. And we're going to put a double crochet into the next 4 stitches. Now make sure you get this guy here. We don't want to miss him or your count won't be right. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now we're at the spot where we need to do the corner again. So in the next stitch we're going to do 2 double crochets. So there's 1 and 2, and then we're going to chain 2, and then we're going to go back in and do 2 more double crochets, and that's going to form our second corner. Now we're going to go ahead and do a double crochet into the next 4 stitches. So here's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. Okay, now we're going to do another drop stitch, but it's going to be under this stem. So we're going to yarn over, and we're not going to go in it. It's going to go in between the stitch we just did and in between the next one. And I kind of just went under the stem, flip it over here, and grabbed a stitch right behind it because there's not really any stitches from the stem to grab. So go through the stem and kind of flip your work over. And just grab one of these little slip stitches back here. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just I'm trying to grab that one right there. They're just really tight slip stitches. There we go. Now I'm gonna grab my yarn and pull it through, draw up even with even with these double crochets, and then yarn over and do my regular double crochet. So that was my drop stitch underneath my stem. Now I'm going to do a double crochet in the next 4. Remember, you got to pull this back and make sure you get this one because you have to get that one. He hides. Now that drop stitch under that stem it don't have to be perfect, just wherever you can kind of get a stitch, because it's going to be hidden by the stem anyway, so it doesn't matter. So there's the next 4. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the next one is a corner. So in the next stitch we're going to put 2 double crochets. So there's 1, 2, chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets. Double crochet into the next 4 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to do our drop stitch in between this stitch that we just worked and the next one, and we're going to drop down and hook it into this little hole right here or somewhere right around it, and it's going to be tight, but go ahead and yarn over and go all the way down. It's hard to hold it open and go into it to show you, but it's this little spot right here. Kind of go right into it and grab your yarn, pull it back through and draw up even with the rest of your stitches, and then do your double crochet. So there's your drop stitch. Now we're going to double crochet again in the next 4 stitches, move your drop stitch over so you can get this stitch that's behind it. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to do the corner into the next stitch. So we're going to put 2 doubles, a chain of 2, and 2 more doubles. So there's 1 and 2. Okay, we're almost got one more side to do here. So we're going to put a double into the next 4 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're going to do our drop stitch now in between the stitch we just worked and this one. So we're going to drop down and go right into this little bitty hole right there. It's the slip stitch from when we were doing our petals. That's where it needs to be. So you just yarn over and go all the way down and go right into it. It's probably tight. Pull your yarn up tall and then do your regular double crochet. There's your drop stitch. Pull your drop stitch over so you can make sure and get this next stitch. And we're going to put 1 double crochet into the last 4 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4. And now we're going to end with the slip stitch into the first double crochet. So that's kind of what it's starting to look like. See, it's looking really funny. I think it looks funny, and it's kind of wavy, and that's fine. We'll get it all straight and flattened out. So now what we're going to do, we're going to go around it again. Now you should have 52, and that's counting these 4 drop stitches that we did. So we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go back into that same stitch and double crochet. And we're going to double crochet into the next stitch. And now we'll be at our corner. So what we're going to do through that chain 2 space is do 2 doubles. A chain of 2. And 2 more doubles. Okay. Now we're going to work a double crochet into the next 5 stitches. Now, I mean to make sure you get this very first one, because sometimes it does hide underneath these double crochets. So pull them back and go in and put, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now what we're going to do is we're going to double crochet all 3 of these stitches together. See these 3? The double crochet, the drop stitch, and then the double crochet after. So we're going to yarn over and go into that next double crochet and drop a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. Then we're going to yarn over and go into that drop stitch, top of it, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Again, we're going to yarn over and go into the next double crochet after the drop stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Now you'll have 4 stitches that remain, yarn over and go through all 4. So that took 3 stitches and made it into 1. Now we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're at our chain 2, so we're going to do our right through the chain space 2 doubles, chain 2, 2 more doubles. Okay, now we're going to do 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. Make sure you get this very first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now we're going to do a double crochet the next 3 stitches together. So the next double crochet, the drop stitch, and the double crochet after. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next double crochet, drop a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the top of that drop stitch, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. Then we're going to yarn over and go into the next double crochet after the drop, drop a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and go through all 4 loops on your hook. And now we're going to put 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. So there's 1, 2, oops, 3, 4, and 5, and now we'll be at our chain space. Now we're going to work in the chain space and do our corner. So it's 2 doubles, chain 2, and 2 more doubles. Now I'm just going to repeat this pattern that we're doing all the way around until I get back to my starting point. I guess we'll just do it again. So it's 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Double crochet the next 3 together. So go into the next one, drop a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, yarn over and go to the top of the drop stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, go into the next 2, yarn over and go into the next stitch, drop a loop, yarn over, go through the first 2, and then yarn over and go through all 3. Now it's 1 double crochet into the next 5 stitches. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now we're in our corner. So it's 2 doubles, 1, 2, chain 2, and then 2 more doubles into that same spot. 1 and 2. So we're going to repeat that same thing until we get over here to the end. Okay, I just did my last where I double crochet 3 together, and I have 3 stitches that remain because in the beginning we did 2 before we hit the corner. So just go ahead and double crochet into those last 3 stitches. And now what you want to do, oops, yarn splitting. You want to slip stitch into the first double crochet, and then I'm going to tie this off. Now you should have a total of 60 stitches. Remember that those when you double crocheted those 3 together, that only counts as 1 stitch now. So kind of pull out your corners a bit. So now it's looking a bit more square. Really don't look much like a clover too much anymore, but we're going to fix that. But first, let's go around the edge with some green. Now if you wanted to keep going and making it bigger, you could. So I'm going to start in the corner. And I'm going to start my yarn by chaining 1. What I'm going to do is go back through the chain 2 space and work 2 single crochets, a chain of 2, and then 2 more single crochets. So that's the same as what we did with the double, except for we're using single. And now I'm going to work 1 single crochet in every stitch. So make sure you pull that back and get this very first stitch here. Don't want to miss that one. And this is just kind of a little border you can put on it. You don't have to do this, but so we do this until we get to our next chain 2 spot. And then when you get to your next chain 2 spot, you want to do the same. We're going to do 2 singles, chain 2, and then 2 more singles. You can slide them over there if you need to get room. Like that. And now I'm going to continue again, putting 1 single crochet in every stitch, and make sure you pull that back and get this first one right here so your count's not off. So I'm going to continue this all the way around until I get back to the beginning. When you get back around, you should have a total of 76 stitches. Okay, once you make it back around, you want to go ahead and end with the slip stitch into your first single crochet, and then we can tie that off and hide that tail. So why don't we go ahead and do that so it's not in the way. We got one more step after this because I know it doesn't really look that great right now, so we're going to try to fix it up a little bit if we can. Like I said, mine don't have to be sewed that good because I'm not going to do anything with these. I'm just showing you guys how to do them. I just don't want these hanging around. Okay, now let's flip it over, straighten it out, pull the corners, pull the edges, and get it nice and straight looking. See what we're working with now. Okay, and there's the stem. So that's what it looks like. Now we're going to make it kind of 3-dimensional. So we got one last step to go. I dropped my green yarn. I'm going to find it here. Oh, it keeps coming out in big blobs. Oh well. Okay, we're going to start with our green yarn. Now, remember in the beginning when we worked in the back loops, now we're going to be working in these front loops. So if you look, there will be, we're not counting the slip stitches. Oh my gosh. We're not counting these slip stitches. There'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 loops, but not the slip stitches. We're going to be working in those 9 loops. So what you want to do, I kind of fold my piece in half and start in that first loop, not that slip stitch, but the first front loop. Go right into it, just that front loop. Start your yarn. It's okay if the loop pulls up a bit, it's gonna happen. There ain't really much you can do to keep from it. Chain 1. Now I'm going to go back into that same loop and do a double crochet. And I'm going to double crochet again to the next 3 front loops. So I'll have 4 double crochets counting this first one. So there's 1, 2, 3, kind of fold it as you go. That's what I do, but 4. Now I'm going to single crochet into the next loop. Single crochet. And now I'm going to double crochet into the next front loops of the next 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now what I'm going to do with this drop stitch is I'm going to go right underneath of it, down low as I can, and single crochet. And we can always pull it down lower later. So like that. Kind of pull it back down a little bit. And now I'm going to do the same to these 9 loops on this leaf or this petal. So remember, we're not working the slip stitch. We're going into the first front loop here. We'll start with a double crochet there. Go right into that 1 loop and double crochet. And you need to do that 4 times. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, single crochet into the next loop, double crochet into the next 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and now we're at the stem. Go under it and single crochet into this drop stitch just like we did before. Okay, and then we're going to jump over here and do the same thing around these 9 loops. So you want to go into the first one, the front loop. Remember, working the front loops and double crochet there. First one's always, sometimes it's hard to get, but so you need to do 4 double crochets. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and now single crochet into the next, double crochet in the next 4 loops, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to single crochet around this drop. So go right through the drop, single crochet around it, and you can pull it lower here later on, but just kind of go pull it down like that. Now we got 1 more petal here that we need to do our 9 stitches around, and working in that front loop still. So 4 double crochets starting in that first loop there. The first loop's always hard for me to get. I'm struggling. There we go. 1, 2, 3, sorry if I'm off camera a little bit, 4. Looking in the camera hurts my eyes, so I have to. Now we're going to single crochet into the next stitch, next stitch, and then double crochet into the last 4 here. 1, 2, 3, one more down there, 4, and now we need to do a single crochet around this last drop stitch, so go right through it, single crochet like that, and then I'm going to come over here and I'm going to end it by slip stitching into my first double crochet that I did. Right in the top of that first double. Okay, I'll clip that off. Okay, now here's what we're going to do. We're going to hide these tails. Okay, so get it all situated here. Pull your stem down. You got to kind of pull these down down a little bit on your drop stitches. Okay, that's starting to look a little better. Now I'm going to take this and I'm going to hide this tail. I am going to actually take it and I'm gonna weave it over here to my stem. So over in the green here, on the back of the green. I left it long enough to do that. I should have told you to leave it long, but if you didn't, that's okay. I'm just going to put a little stitch in the stem to hold it. So get your stem. So just get your stem where you want it, and then once you weave this over here, just kind of weave it through and put a stitch in that stem just to hold it there. That way it ain't flopping up on you. You put a couple if you want to hold it down. And then you just finish hiding your tail and hiding any remaining tails. So let's see here. This off. Okay, now you got to kind of straighten it out a bit here. So remember, you want to pull these down on your drop stitch, the single crochets that we did. They should hold once you pull them down. Got your stem sewed on. Straighten out all your corners. And there it is. That wasn't that hard, was it? That's all there is to it. So it's just sewed on a granny square. It's made into the granny square, so it's not really sewed separate. But that's it. That's all there is to it. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to check me out on Facebook, or if you make this or anything else, I love to see a picture of it. You can post a picture on there. I'll put a link to that below, and I also have a Facebook Bagoday Crochet Facebook chat page too, with a lot of people that you can just go on there and chat with other people that love crochet and post pictures and ask questions and stuff. So I'll put a link to that below in the description box too. And until next time, have a good day.